When do you send 15 cops and riot gear for disturbance complaint? See, I knew who they came for. They came from me. There was no disturbance complaint. So I just took my little fat stuff right on down there to Internal Affairs and filed charges against the cop that I know who sent them there. See, because I spoke out on city council on Tuesday and fingered him as being a dirty cop. Because the hood says you're dirty. You're dirty. And Wednesday, here comes 15 cops in riot gear trying to get up in my house. So yes, it can be very dangerous, but you have to know the law. You have to know the law, you have to know your rights, and you have to know what you're talking about. So I try not to put no bad information out there. So when I say I knew he's a dirty cop, the streets don't lie. You out here beating up on old ladies and grandmothers. So yes, I put the finger on him, and yes, Metro came after me already. They're probably not finished with me, but I'm ready. I'm strong. Double time. Now, first of all, I'm a Camden resident. I raised 4 children in the Camden school system, the Camden public school system. Now, you want to talk about the $50 million that you fellas know was wasted? First of all, when Governor Corzine, he left $110 million for the schools. The schools are dilapidated, they're old, they need upgraded. We didn't ask anybody to bring a new type of school in. Being a part of the city of Camden and being a graduate of Camden High, I just went to my 35th class reunion. I'm passionate about this. What they have done to the school systems here is terrible. Because in these Renaissance schools, I want you to know that the parent is the new teacher. The parent is the new teacher. They send these kids home with homework packets with 40 and 50 lessons for you to teach. Prior to them coming here messing with our schools, everything was free. How are you going to take one of the poorest cities in the nation and these charter schools and Renaissance schools, they charge the uniform prices? You can spend $120 on one kid, on one uniform. But the mother is on welfare. Listen, we didn't ask for our school system to get messed up. The state did it.
That's right.
The state has been running this city for 25 years.
That's right.
So any problem that we had, the state did it.
That's right.
They made Camden a dumping ground.
That's
I want
right.
you to know this.
That's right.
Because Camden, we are, you know what we are, we're a county seat. Any kind of homeless prevention program, drug program, or any other program that no other city wants, they drop it here. They drop it here. Now, considering the city is overran with drugs, these people are having babies. And these babies, most of them have IEPs, learning disabilities. More money. The money is with the kids. In order for them to take this city, they must take the schools. I work with St. Camden Public Schools. That's Gary Frazier. And I'm telling you right now, we fight every day. We go into the schools for emergencies. Things like, you know what they're doing on our children? They got 10 minutes to eat. The state law mandates that every child has 45 minutes. But under Payman Rahanifer, the new superintendent, that our governor, the fat Governor Christie, brought here, because I don't like him, he had enough to have his acceptance speech in a charter school. If you remember, when he became governor, he accepted his speech in a black charter school in North, I believe, because that was the beginning. That's where the cash cow was. See, the money is with the kids. You got to consider that every kid in the educational public school system, $22,000 going to that kid. And then they're writing grants for them, after school program, the lunch program, this, that, safe haven, safe quarter. That's big bucks. So they're going to come in here and privatize our schools and teach our children nothing? Are you kidding me? And I'm going to sit back and let that happen? If you want to write a story, I don't have no problem with you writing a story, but there's 2 sides to the coin. Come here and see what's going on in the Camden public school system. Don't listen to what people tell you.
I want to shift gears a little bit to just so we can cover a lot of it.
But just this is a politically savvy room because all of you are students who pay attention to news. How many of you have heard of George Northwest? Okay? All right? There's a reason, and I agree that Camden's been a dumping ground, as you put. And that's because people in Camden and in this part of the world continue to vote for the guy, George Norcross, and his party that just put a ton of money into super PACs, okay? That just picked up a bunch of legislative seats across the state, okay? The NJA doesn't spend millions of dollars, okay? Because they want to just be nice people, okay? They do that because they expect a return on their dollar. They're the people that are collaborating with Norcross and Christie and these other power brokers to make it so even though we're spending $25,000 per kid, and I'm sure anybody on this stage can take that $25,000 and give those children, each one of them, better education than the state's getting. I feel confident in that, okay? But what do they do with that money? The one thing I disagree with, and it may just be a phrase, term of art or something, but the money is not with the kids. That $25,000 is not getting to these kids. That's the problem. And that's the point with my post. I'm not saying that we shouldn't spend a lot of money on Camden education. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying there aren't special challenges here. But let's just stop talking about it if it's just not money, because it's not just money. And let's start naming names, okay? A lot of the people who are causing the problems, we never say who their name is. We really got to call them out, we have to be honest.
In all my videos, I name Norcross. First of all, you gotta know who I am. My uncle was the power broker that worked with Norcross for over 40 years. Theodore Henson. I'm calling names. He's Theodore Henson. I know what I'm talking about, but I'm just going to say this here. As far as the educational system in Camden, they strategically sabotage our public school system to try to justify bringing in these other schools. And it didn't happen overnight. 25 years to 30 years ago, they started this, okay? Now, you talking about Hackentown, what they have, you know what they have? They have local control of their schools. They had a right to choose their board of education, okay?
But who's making money off of these charters? That's the point.
Norcross, the governor, and everybody else.
So vote for different candidates.
Okay, so that raises the next area I want to move into.
Can I say one?
Go ahead.
All of us want to say one quick thing. And I don't want to put my colleague Allison Steele on the spot, but Allison, what was the voter turnout, or approximately what was the voter turnout in the city of Camden?
I mean, I wouldn't be able to give an estimate.
It was
the voter turnout in New Jersey this year was a record low of 21%.
The record
statewide.
It was minuscule, and what I'm saying, I think a point needs to be made, and I agree with the folks up here, I really do. But one of the things that I have found heartbreaking about Camden, always heartbreaking about Camden, is not, who are the overlords and, why, no, it's that people don't vote. People don't vote, and there are all kinds of reasons that can be cited why people don't vote. But people of Camden, if you don't turn out and vote the rascals out, right, you're going to keep getting the same stuff over and over again, no matter who's blogging and who's running and who's saying what. That is heartbreaking to me. There were some very fine candidates running in the last election in the city, and they got, a couple hundred? Nobody turned out. It's a tragedy, and that's something that I think maybe the kind of active social media, alternative media, bloggers, what Stephen is doing, what we're all doing, what Vidal is doing, maybe that can help dislodge this, this frozen situation. This has been true in Camden for 30 years, that people just don't get out and vote, and it's a shame.
That leads to the area I wanted to move into. I know several of you cover politics, and we are now officially in the presidential election year, now that we've bypassed last week's election day. But as you pointed out, statewide we had, I think, 21% turnout for all the assembly seats that were up. We are coming into a presidential election, so we will see some uptick in terms of the turnout next year for sure. But I'm wondering if, as we enter into this big political season where people are paying a lot more attention to politics, what your plans are as bloggers, and do you feel it's your responsibility to try to kind of move the dial a little bit to get more people involved and part of the process.
Can I take a crack at this? This conversation it's a little depressing. And it reminds me that when you get to the nitty-gritty of politics, it really is depressing, it really is discouraging. And I've gotten to a point in my blogging career where sometimes in order just to sort of cope with that reality, you have to be a little bit selfish. Because I look around at all of these things that kind of freak me out, and I feel like the world is going to hell in a handbasket, and it keeps me up at night. I think about the naughty Democrats behaving badly with the governor that I resent. It can be really discouraging, and so I've chosen instead maybe the last 5 or 6 years to focus on issues that are really narrow and that really matter to me personally. You know, I got tired of the government telling me who I couldn't marry, so you know what, I worked my ass off and now I can marry the partner that I want to marry. I got tired of the government telling me that I couldn't smoke marijuana. You know what, I can smoke marijuana legally now. I got tired of the government not reflecting my values, and so I worked towards making sure that they did reflect my values. And if you can keep it narrow, and if you can focus on things that are really important to you, because you know, you attach yourself to a candidate, even if they're a great candidate, they're going to break your heart eventually. Even if they're for your party, and you work your ass off, and you give everything you can, you get them elected, and they'll go to Washington, and they're going to let you down. But when you work for your values, then it sort of all comes down to how much you hustle. And the reason that Vidal is successful, the reason I'm not successful is because when it comes to content, whatever they're writing it a lot. And they do it with an energy and a zeal and a certain lack of a filter that I think certainly sets them apart from media platforms in the past. But again, you know, the tone of it's a downer. When you look at the education system in Camden and what the institutional, what's led to this point, it's really hard to not get down on yourself. And for me to sort of cope with all of these things that are, you know, with global warming and sewer packs and income inequality and all of these things that really get to me is I just focus on things that I know that if I work really, really hard on, I'll eventually run away. And my passage prologue, you know, we ended the death penalty in New Jersey, raised the minimum wage, we got gay marriage, got medical marijuana. And eventually, I would hazard to guess that if I'm agitating for it now, I'll be embracing it in 10 years anyway. So you should follow me on Twitter at Jay Lassiter. And I hope that you will become a part of my conversation too, because Matt said that you guys are all the future leaders. And in many ways, that's very encouraging, but in many ways, I'm kind of scared for y'all. So I hope that you will find me on Twitter and be a part of the conversation and enlighten me and hopefully learn a little bit from you as well.
And do you or any of you feel that people will be paying more attention to what you're saying in the coming year just because there is this sort of heightened attention to what's going on at the national level, just this being a political season and people are suddenly just listening, and you know, the debates that we've had on TV the last several weeks have gotten record numbers of people watching them. Do you feel that there's a change in terms of people wanting to get more involved and hear what people like you have to say?
Well, you could probably look at our traffic and tell if that's the case. I know that after a debate, if I talked about what Chris Christie talked about the night before, it gets a lot more traffic. You can look at your metrics. I guess that's one of the cool things about social media too. You know, you find out what's buzzy, what goes viral, what falls flat, and you know, sometimes you can think this is so topical, this is so relevant. I'm going to work really, really hard for it, and like 2 people will share it. And then you turn around and you're look at this funny cat did something cute, and 100 people share it. So it's hard to figure out exactly what makes the magic, but I know that the attention is heightened because my traffic has been going up a lot.
On that point,
Like you guys, you know, when it comes to politics in Camden is something unique. Because we know minorities are Democrats. So the machine uses that. They set it up, partisan, nonpartisan, so that when you go in and vote, all the Democrats are down here, all the Republicans are here, and then the others are here. The independents or the write-ins or whoever. New Jersey only recognizes 2 parties, and that's the Democrats and the Republicans. New Jersey, the state of New Jersey, does not recognize independents. I just came from the Board of Elections. Had a whole tour of the building, see how the votes was counted, because I have a decision to make. And the decision is, how do we stop the people from Camden from voting Democratic? It's a hard thing to do, but you gotta wake the people up. Like this election, I didn't vote for the Democrats. I voted for the Republicans.
We voted Republican.
I even did a video. Vote for the Republicans. Stay out of column 1. That's what I told them. Vote for column 2. You know, you have a right, your vote is your voice. As far as the presidential election, there's so many people running, you don't know who to vote for. I wouldn't vote for Donald Trump. And Hillary Clinton, she's kind of iffy too. I'll be honest with you, she's a Democrat, and I would never vote for a Republican. I'm sorry right now. Republicans, we know they take the money and stash it, they don't spend it on nobody. There is no middle class with the Republican Party. So, you know, you have to make your choice. You have to, being young people, take your time, investigate. See what they're saying. Investigate. Don't just listen to the lies that they tell, because listen, we all know there are 2 people that are considered liars in the world, and that's lawyers and politicians.
You know, something interesting occurred to me.
You have as much fun on the 3,000 word posts as on the snarky responses. And I think it's one of the things that I look up to you guys with. I wish I was a little funnier. I wish I had a little better touch on social media. And that's to say that being involved in politics is often quite depressing. You know, we just looked, there was a lot of excitement 8 years ago around a presidential election, and there are a lot of folks who are burned, you know, and I grew up on stories of my mom campaigning for Jimmy Carter, and then telling the stories afterwards about what she got when she got her candidate. And so there's this challenge of how do we make this space a little less depressing? And I'll be real honest, I live down here in downtown Camden. It was depressing to vote. You know, you go in there, and I spent 20 minutes in the voting. I'm like typing out my friends. I'm like, at least I can vote for my friends, right? I don't like either candidate. And so I think social media has this space to be personal, be funny. If you're not reading Kevin's quips on Facebook, like go check them out now. They're really funny. They make me want to click on the longer form articles. They make me want to go look at the analysis. And I think that's one of the beauties is, you know, if you're online, you don't have to cut things short. You don't have to fit it into 800 words, but you also can be funny and bring in a readership that needs something to lighten their day, that needs care of it. Listen, there's nothing more depressing than watching the Republican debates right now, right?
One